So let's talk about Ne Zha 1 and 2. So why this have to be a double feature, right? Is because, just saying this right out the gate, the show is designed to be a double feature, right? Because all right, so context time, right? So Ne Zha 2, right? It came out a few. Well, okay, so it came out at I think it's at the start of the Chinese New Year, right? And it just like decimated the Chinese box office, right? Highest grossing film for the year so far, right?
To speak at this, this is interesting because like you see all Ting movies like drop off a cliff, all like American movies, especially American superhero films, just effectively drop off a cliff when it comes to China
Yeah,
box office. No?
yeah. I
Because
mean, like,
China's
like
box,
like Superman, for example. Like I had
right,
a
exactly.
I had
So, so man,
a discussion with a friend earlier, well, a while back. Yeah, and he was talking about, wow, like Superman doing nothing in China, but it's Superman, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but nobody doing anything in China. That's the whole point. Like across the board, like every one of these movies should have like extra 300 million of it. No? And so that's about it. But then this nature movie just come in and do a ton. So it's like, well, something shifting with Chinese markets, and that makes some sense. Like I get a feeling that they already, the infamous thing about China people is that they take the thing and then go and do their own thing now. So very soon, more than likely, we're gonna start to see Chinese movies or Chinese like superhero movies or something comparable, being formed eventually, and that coming just now. So I don't know, is that? But this nature movie is like one of those, you do the whole historical legend stuff and play with that. And this is what you get. These things, the thing with these things, these movies, is that they operate kind of like how we see Indian films. You see how Indian films is like kind of have everything in it, and they'll put almost everything in it. But if you make it work, as a conceit, it could come together. But sometimes it mostly don't come together. That is the kind of movies we could see happening, and they end up being like really entertaining if they make it work. If they're not entertaining, they'll just be a kind of weird mess. But they are entertaining, they're synthesizing in fascinating and interesting ways. Now, this is one of those. Like, it's not surprised that they make this much cash. Not a surprise at all. Well, the second one at least. Yeah, I know the first one.
Yeah, well, all right. So for me, as far as like just research goes, right? Not much Wikina did for the first one, right? But yeah, I mean, it made a ton of it made bank when it came out in 2019, right? And then, well, of course, this one, making way more, right? But what made this second film really interesting? This is why people will be talking about this now, right? And it's interesting that we live in a world. Sorry, I should say this year, 2025, right? We live in a world, right, where the most popular Netflix movie right now is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, so popular, it actually controlling, it actually dominate music discourse itself.
Yes, because
Yeah.
yeah, songs from the album or the soundtrack are on
Yeah.
the charts right now, right? But yeah, if it's not K-pop Demon Hunters now we have this movie being the fifth highest grossing film of all time. So I mean,
Right.
it's right up there with like Avengers Endgame. I think
Right.
Titanic is still there.
Yeah, no,
Avatar,
Avatar, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's right up there. You know what I mean? But yeah, before we get to Ne Zha, right? So quick question, right? Please tell me, did you see K-pop Demon Hunters? And if so, what you thought about it? Did you think it was
I don't see,
overhyped or you thought it was worth it?
I don't watch it. No, I didn't watch this yet. I only watch the thing and them do a review. That's
Or
about it. I
double
didn't watch it.
toasted? Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I knew. I was just aware. Just keeping my ear to the ground. I was aware of what do you call it? Just the idea that they
The
actually like
songs?
it
Oh.
was the first right. The music actually take the first time it make a thing a girl band make a oh god, what's it called it Broadway. Oh gosh, it's slipping my mind.
No,
Billboard.
not
Sorry.
Billboard. Yeah.
Billboard, right? Yeah, Billboard thing from since Destiny Child or something like that, or
Oh,
Pussycat Dolls or one of
a
them.
girl group period or K-pop girl
Period.
group?
Yeah, like a girl group. Period. Like
Oh
I think
shit!
since Pussycat
Wow.
Dolls, yeah, since Pussycat Dolls or Destiny Child, one of them. Like
Okay,
make a
wow.
number one.
Since
But I
Pussycat
don't think the
Dolls. All
last time.
right.
Right. But the thing is, I can't remember if Pussycat Dolls was ever number one.
I think they were.
That's the thing.
Cause there was that one
Okay,
track,
right.
don't share with Busta Rhymes. I know that was a
Right,
smash.
but
Yeah,
that was number one.
I assume
I
so
don't know.
because
Like
I
I don't
heard
know.
that shit
Yeah,
like all the time when it was out.
yeah. No, I
But
mean
yeah,
it could be. No, something can be super popular but never actually make number one. Like it have a lot of super popular songs that never actually make number one because another more popular song like was just at the time. But it was still popular. I don't know, like whatever. But the point is that it is a while we haven't had a girl band. That's the whole point now, all girl band. that actually take over American Billboard, because like the live action K-pop groups never actually came across and take over. No? Like only B2K really did the thing now. I think with this
BTS.
Girls' Generation.
BTS.
BTS, sorry.
Not to be
I was going to say
confused with
B2K.
B2K. But that's all
It's
right. That's all
basically
right.
B2K. It's basically B2K, we know. Whatever. But was the one, I think it's Blackpink or whatever. They never really like blow up in the States.
I don't
They were
think
big.
so. No, no.
Yeah, they never really blow up in the States now. So it's like, yes, this is like the I think the first time it actually came across, but it's because of the show. Right, the song big, but the show is really the injector now. So it was like that a little interesting piece of factoid, like, all right, that is interesting. But I didn't actually watch the movie myself. I'll sit down and watch it whenever I find the time.
All right. Well, I
But yeah,
recommend that you should, and please don't be
right.
ashamed. It's harmless. It will not kill you, right? But
No,
what
no,
what
yeah, but whenever any time.
yeah,
Whatever.
but why bringing up K-pop Demon Hunters,
Right,
is not just because it's an Asian animated movie that is blowing up right now, right? Is because Netflix was so generous to American audiences that they are going to be running this thing theatrically, limited, of course, as a sing-along version, which is
right,
kind
right.
of
So
brilliant.
they put it
That's
out.
kind of
Right,
brilliant.
they're putting it out. Okay, so they're putting it out in theaters. All right, yeah, but that's smart.
Yeah. So they're doing the wicked thing, right? So
Because
I don't know
I've said,
if one day this movie will ever be released on Blu-ray or whatever. And yes, folks, you'll get back to Neja in a minute. Hold on. But yeah, they'll probably like tack on the sing-along version, similar to the release of Wicked, right? They have the sing-along
right.
version to it as well. But yeah.
I've said as a trend, the concept film could become a real force now, potentially. Like, but we don't know. It had to have a big enough start to do it, and they don't really have any big upcoming young female stars that as super big that look like Taylor Swift or Beyonce. They kind of passed, and so I'm not sure what will happen. But like, I could see the format, becoming a thing, or if it's just a novelty. I don't know. Well,
Right. So back to Neja, right? So yeah, so the
right.
mere fact that this movie is like the fifth highest grossing film of all time, right? Or one of the five, however it is, right? I was like, okay, I need to watch
Get up
this, right?
there.
But
Yeah.
I had to watch. Well, I decided to watch the first film, right? So the thing with what's so interesting about the release of this film here, right, is that A24 who they just come out the blue and just say, here's what, right? We're gonna release this film theatrically. That is a
Right.
ballsy move by A24 standards. Seeing
I don't think
Ninja
it's that
2 for
bold.
myself, but I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
I don't.
E24, I fuck with y'all. I
Nah,
love that. That's a smart
they,
marketing move right there. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
they see the numbers. They see the numbers. They see the numbers. Like, it's not even nothing. They see the numbers. Like, because you like, from again, from outsider perspective, I wouldn't have never, like, if you just show me this trailer just so, then I wouldn't have think it'd make that much money, Like, but then when I see numbers, so like, all right, well, the numbers is numbers, money walk, bullshit talk, so
That's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
yeah,
But it's
I know how.
A24 of all people of all companies though. Like
No,
you would
not
think it would be some other like company or whatever, but nah, E24 is like,
now.
nah, bitch,
No,
this is for us. Shit.
yeah, exactly. They see the numbers, they could get away with something relatively obscure, again, obscure from a Western American perspective, and yes, they see the numbers and then sneak that in. Because they take an 824 in a kind of weird space right now, right, where they could do big films, but not really, and then they kind of could take over the paradigm of having both, stuff for film people and stuff for the masses, and how to balance that. And this is the kind of thing that you get a little financial leg up because listen, this just them distributing this and getting through with this is like 2 3 amazing masterpieces down the road there for you.
Yeah.
Like I say, though, I admit that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
at least 2 or 3 great films could come out of that alone. So like, all right, cool. So that movie's gonna cost nothing, So it's like, wait, is this movie looking real dread and amazing, but it only costs 5 million. No, it really costs like 20 million. But they make a bunch of cash and they can afford to burn money on these amazing movies for the art style and just watch them with an Oscar or whatever or something. That's what they gamble. They're making, listen, they're making, Harvey Weinstein moves without the rape, right? Like, admit that, right?
Yeah, for real.
Right.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
Harvey,
Yeah. So
without
mad
the
props to
sexual,
E2. Yeah.
without the sexual assault. Without the sexual assault, right? So, if you can
Yeah.
do without sexual assault, please do it, right? Just avoid the sexual assault. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Please.
So, that's it.
But yeah,
Yeah,
mad props
that's it.
to
That's
E24
it.
for that. But mad
Because
props.
only thing with Harvey Weinstein, he really leave a like when you think about it, he really leave a vacuum, with him getting taken down. It have nobody like him. Like he was really the only person doing what he was doing. This kind of realm moving and shaking kind of thing is like, yeah, they're finally doing it. It's just he's not his name now. It's not a single person. No, well, he and the brother now. No, yeah, actually, A24 is and the A24 have cred. They have cred on both the film end and the thing end. Because how much a lot of Weinstein films was like stuff like, oh yeah, right, I really love this movie. It's like, but Miramax distribute this. Like, oh yeah, shit, and Miramax distribute that. Like, go back. A lot of stuff that could have come across, like a lot of anime and thing. They had the eyes for it. They had the
Dude,
eyes and the ears
Princess
for it at
Mononoke
the
was
time.
released through
Right.
Miramax Dread. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. Now, when you go back and check, it's like, oh shit, Miramax distributed. Like the reason why you see a lot of great films is because of them, right? Just the sexual assault, right? Like, please,
That's
please,
true.
please, please, please don't have that, right?
Yeah.
So, they make it that move, and it's a smart move to make. It's a real
Nah,
smart move
it
to make. Like,
is.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, just
But
watch.
but one last thing about the release, and then we'll get to the film, right?
Right,
Is that yes, it's the sequel that's being shown right now in the States right now, right?
right, right.
And they actually got the great Michelle Yeoh, who won an Oscar through Everything Everywhere All at Once, which came out through
Yep,
824, right? Yeah,
yep.
so
That's
she's
part
playing
of
the
it.
mom. Yeah, she's playing the mom of Ne Zha, right? So on paper, I understand that, right? The issue with that though is that many people, out of sheer curiosity, are going to jump into this movie without having seen the first film, and they're just gonna be like, "What the hell is all this?" And then they're gonna think, "Oh, so that's why E24 put it out because it's all weird and stuff." So now for me to step in and shut all it down with that, right? The thing about it is now is that you kind of have to watch the first film before you jump into the second one, because this is, wait for it,
Yeah,
a two-parter.
right. Pretty much. Yeah.
It's a two-parter. It's a two-parter, right? So what?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. I was aware of the film, the first one. I was aware of it, but I say in the back of my head, it's like I don't remember seeing it. I remember it was making waves when it came out, but I don't remember actually sitting down to see it. And then when the second one came out, I was like, it's a part two, I think. But to me, the way how it is, it not I cannot follow it from where we get.
Oh,
I thought it wasn't so bad.
alright. So I
And this
think
is
I
for
think
me.
I know why
I think
you were able to follow it up, right?
it was to me because I might be familiar with.
I'll call that title. I wanna see it. Cause while I was watching part two, I was like, this is right up Ricardo's alley, Dread. But more on that later. But yeah, go on.
No, it was like if I'm familiar with Chinese folklore or whatever, it's like okay, right. I could follow what's going on here, even though it's like an allusion to this Chinese folklore or whatever. So that's why none of it was like too far fetched for me. Like it was, I could have followed. Like it was fine. But I suppose yeah, still need to watch part one.
Yeah. So not gonna get too deep into what both films are about, right? Because I want not so much I want people to go in blind, right? I just want them to
Right,
see the twists and turns of the story for themselves, right? So there's this thing called a chaos pool, right? And out of that,
right,
there's like good and bad, right? Well, there's basically out of that, basically you have what is called the spirit pearl and demon orb, right? So the spirit,
right,
right? So the demon orb goes into the body of this human woman, right? And out of that, out of a very, 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 very long pregnancy, like a ridiculously long pregnancy, right? Yeah, she gives birth to Ne Zha, right? But he has the demon orb inside of him, right? The spirit
right,
pearl, however, that was supposed to be awakened, if you will, at the time that Ne Zha was born, right? Because it's within this whole chaos pearl thing, right? So both pearls are enclosed in this thing, right? So like when this child is born, the other, the other pearl will be awakened, right? That pearl is stolen and is sent to this dragon king, or king of the dragons as you call it, right? And it becomes, well, it ends up going into his son, right? Who is
right,
born human in a sense, right? But he could turn into a dragon, right? Remember, it's Chinese mythology we're working here, right? So as far as the
right,
dragons
right, right.
go, and this is what you learn in the second film, they are trapped in this subterranean prison, right? Basically underneath the ocean, so it's all like lava and magma and stuff like that, right? So they're all trapped there, chained up and whatnot, right? And you learn why in the second film, right? They are basically the higher up, right? Immortal Wu Lang, right? So this is
Right.
basically, he's the leader of this group, this sect called the Chan sect, right? So they basically, so forgive me, Ricardo, but that's kind of selling out the name of the show that I was thinking about while I was watching both films. It's technically the soul society of this universe, right? So
Right,
yes,
right, right, right.
it's
Exactly.
that. It's literally
I get it.
soul society,
Again,
though.
yeah, all of these, like thing is just take from some folklore or whatever it is, that it's just a conceit, because it's not like, because I like Bleach a lot, but Bleach is not like some super original thing. It's just
No.
Bleach have a cool take on it. That's it. So just that, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's not heaven, it's not purgatory. It's like
Right.
the equivalent of the Elysian field. So it's like between earth and heaven, you have
Yeah.
there, right? But is with
Yeah.
a bunch of soldiers and warriors
Right.
basically. But people who are wanting to become immortal or being righteous and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
it's
Right.
pulling
You
from
gotta
Buddhists
earn your,
and
yeah,
Taoist beliefs and whatnot, right?
yeah, you gotta earn your keep. You gotta earn your keep in a sense. Right.
Exactly. And then in the second film, you learn that demons are acquired, are captured, and they are brought there, and they are more or less changed to become, soldiers, or I should say warriors like them, or well, gearing up to be immortals, right? That's the best way I could sum it up
Right.
without spoiling anything, right? So back to Neja, back to Earth, right? So Neja now with his mother and father, they are both demon hunters, haha, wink, wink, right?
Right.
Yeah, they are badasses as well too, right? So yeah, basically there's this prophecy. So like in 3 years' time, right? When he is of a certain age, right? A lightning bolt will basically come and kill him, right? And then, well, the orb itself will be removed from him, right? But all throughout life now, he is treated as an outcast, right? Because, yeah, right out the gate, dude is a brat. He is a annoying,
Right.
literally an annoying ass brat, right? And
But there's a lot of, it's very both Bleach. You mentioned Bleach, but it's very Naruto coded as well, right?
yes,
Yeah.
he is a
Very, very
Naruto
Naruto.
character, true and true, right?
Very
Yeah,
Naruto. Yeah.
annoying voice,
Yeah.
wild, he's crazy, and yeah, people just don't like, especially kids, don't like him. They treat him
Right.
as like the enemy. Like there's a nice bit in the first film involving this young gang of kids, right? And like, oh, this is how we're gonna trap Ninja, and it's this Ocean's 11 kind of thing. Like, oh, we're gonna do X, we're gonna do Y, we're gonna trap him like that. That's a nice bit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it
eventually,
really feel like you're watching a whole. That's why the movie so long, but it's really feel like I can see somebody like cutting this up, where it really feel like you're watching like the first season of an anime.
yeah, it is the
Whatever.
first season of
Yeah,
anime. Both films are the first season of this anime, in my
pretty
opinion,
much, right?
or the first core.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
even these two films aren't even two cores. It's one core. It's one core that you
No,
see.
it's
It
one
just split
story.
down
Yeah,
the
it's one,
middle.
it's one full arc. Yeah, it's one
Yeah.
full arc, pretty much. Yeah.
Exactly, but that's to wrap things up, right? So through some circumstances, he meets Ao Bing, right, who is the son of the King of the Dragons, right? And
Right.
he forms this friendship, right? But the father, as in his father, is like, no, you can't be friends with him because he's a demon guy and whatnot, right? And then
Right.
well, you reveal who the enemies are, and then the two of them have to team up and fight. But where the first film stops off basically is that, okay, their bodies have to be remade, right? So the Sacred Lotus now is brought back into the story again, right? So yeah, there's a Sacred Lotus again that is used to actually help in terms of giving birth. Well, help in terms of giving birth to these two characters, right? So now it's reused now basically to reshape their bodies, right? And now there's this big threat going on now where the Dragon King is like, here's what, yeah, I just want to destroy, Neja's hometown for reasons, right? But now, Neja now basically has to go through these trials, which will eventually lead to him becoming an immortal of his own. And I learn later on that he actually has two immortal brothers of his own, right? And they do something nice with that near the end of the film, but I wouldn't spoil that, right? But yeah, basically our hero has to go through these trials now. Ao Bing wants to help out as well, right? But they set up something very nice now in that film where their bodies aren't 100% complete, right? So there is a risk now that when they really like pull out all the big moves and whatnot, it could do serious damage to their bodies, right? So it does get to a point now where Tai, right, who is his master, right, this big burly guy, right, and he's the comic relief in the film and in both films, right? Yeah, he basically come up with this nice little this magic spell basically where Ao Bing's spirit is put into Neja's body, right, and they now had a kind of function together, and it makes us great body swap stuff.
Yeah, do some body swap stuff as well. It's like, okay, all of this and this, but yeah, again, to me, if this was a series, you wouldn't have blink up blatter eye,
No,
It's just they somehow just gel together a whole season to one movie.
Two movies.
and
Two movies. Two
but
movies.
you know,
Yeah.
it's a movie, and then like somehow put that in theaters and it work. And I said, that's the thing that's shocking though. It's like
Yes.
this not even like a franchise. Like how does work, Jared? Like, but it's China, so like I fine. But like how you make this much cash? That's what
I
catching me.
don't know. All right, so I think I know
But to
why,
be
but
fair,
I'll get to
to be
that in my
fair,
review.
to be fair, like if it is one of those things that it have nothing to do with the quality of the material in itself or the format, it could just like work. Like much like the Avatar films. You know, this is China's Avatar films in a sense, right? It's just this thing that familiar with like a lot of concepts and tropes and you put it together and it just somehow gel together and because the tech because like that's another thing that was quite impressive with this. The animation is great. Like even though
Yep,
you're
yep, yep,
thinking it's
yep.
supposed to look cheap, it's like when I was watching it for the first time, it's like, oh, this is gonna look cheap. And then when I started watching, like, no, this looking real good. It's like, so it's a kind of little bit of like Spider-Verse kind of aspect to it, you know, where it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it has a different animation style, and it might take from here, and they pull from here, and it actually just quality-wise it comes together really well. So same thing with Hakuri, and that's what it is. It's just this kind of China's Avatar in that sense, though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So that's a wrap up the synopsis, right? So it's revealed now why the dragons are chained up and whatnot. You see who the main body is and what that person's scheme is and whatnot, and it just leads to this all out epic, grand, badass Turak that is nothing short of amazing. And I'll stop there, right? So I will just give like just a quick thoughts on the first film and then we'll jump into the second one together, right? But more or less my views on the first film will bleed over into this one here, right?
Yeah, look real good.
So yeah,
Right.
it's a great thing that I watched the first film, right? Because yeah, I absolutely enjoyed it, right? For me, at first, right, there is there is an emphasis on juvenile humor in this film, right? In
Right.
both films actually, but more in the first
And
one. I know for like for some
it
viewers that'll take them out. So if you're not
a
a
little bit, yeah.
fan of like fart jokes and stuff like that, you'll just kind of roll the eyes at these things, right? But thankfully, even though they do more of it in the first film, thankfully it was not overdone. Like it was there and it added to the character of Ne Zha. 'Cause yeah, Ne Zha is a brat. That's how he is, right? So these things are to be expected. But there are times where like all right, like understanding this is supposed to be for kids, but although I see both films as PG-13, right? Like if I had to rate them like MPAA rating, these are PG-13 films, right? But I can understand for the kids in the audience, yeah, you have to have those moments, right? You know? But yeah, at times it's like, oh gosh, like you needed this. But I was like, all right, whatever, right? But yeah, you're saying, sorry?
No. It just in terms of the core conceit, it wasn't like that big of a deal for me. I get it. I get why you were designing for it. Is and I could see why somebody being annoyed by it, but it didn't bother me.
Well, good for you actually. 'Cause I know some adult viewers go this way, oh gosh, what am I watching this? This is
And
not
yeah,
for
it's
me.
typical.
I mean, yeah.
It's typical, right? You know, Israel animated because it have that problem. Like you know, it remember Dandada. Like Dandada just go weird
Mhm.
all of a sudden, and you can see like typical animating now is a thing that you have to either get into or not. Like
That's true.
once you get over it, then you could say, all right, I could get into it. But like again, it's a total like generational thing. Millennials and younger, we could vibe it. Anybody older, unlikely. Like
Yeah.
not impossible, but unlikely. So
Right.
it's like
Now,
yeah,
one thing I'll mention though is that just going back to the theatrical release of Ne Zha 2, that is in an English dub, right?
right,
I saw the Chinese dub of it, right, and I thought
right.
it was good. So for the first film, I saw it in English, right? And I thought that the English was solid, right? I thought that in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of
it's pretty good translation. It's pretty good dub
right,
actually. Yeah,
right.
very strong
You
dub.
hit the
Yeah,
nail in the head. Translation,
it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all.
yeah.
Because usually, I mean, to be fair, a lot of like modern recent dubs in the last good 10 years prior was really good dubs. Like I forget which movie it is that had Robert Pattinson I think in it,
Or
and he was really good at
Boy in the Heron, Boy in the Heron, yeah.
Wendy Aaron, thank you. Right, yeah, he was really good in that. I was like, oh right, I forget that dubs real step up, dude. Like since Princess Mononoke it was good, but like I find dubs real step up. I forget his Your Name, I think.
Well,
Your Name had a
I still
fantastic
haven't
dub.
seen that, I know,
Yeah, I think yeah.
shame on me. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Your Name, I remember Your Name having a really solid dub. It's like, oh, dubs are good now. Like they're great now. I should say. Well, yeah,
Dubs
good.
have stepped up. Ha ha ha. That's the last time
Yeah,
I'll say
right,
that joke, right? So moving on.
right,
Yeah,
right, right,
so
right.
right. So the English dub I thought was solid, right? But what I mean in terms of
Yeah,
translation, it didn't feel like they had to change the words or the context to fit modern, to fit English or the American audiences, right?
Right.
It felt like
Right.
everything that was said, even if it's Chinese terminology, was kept there, right? But yeah, I thought it works, right? How the story built and whatnot, how the story was told and built and whatnot, I thought worked as well, because the runtime for the first film is like an hour and 55 minutes, right? I thought that the pacing was great though. There was,
Yeah.
like, yes, you have your moments of downtime, right? But it never felt dull or boring. Like, I never tuned out of the show at all, right? And I love how the story grew and developed and whatnot, right? But it really took its time in telling the story, right? The animation, stellar in my opinion, right? I just love the use of colors in that film though, and it bleeds over into the next film, of course, right? But just how vibrant and just rich the colors look though, and especially the powers, the skill sets that these characters have, right? Like Taijin, what dude pull out that paintbrush? All right, forgive me.
Uh,
I was thinking about your boy from Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War. I was
yeah,
like,
Ichibe, yeah,
it's
yeah.
that
Straight,
guy.
it's straight
It's
up
that
Ichibe.
guy.
Straight up Ichibe, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ichibe
Ichibe.
from
I was like,
Bleach
it's that guy.
Yeah.
But when he pull out his scroll and he use that paint and he go inside that dimension, he could basically paint stuff inside that dimension. I was like,
Yeah.
that hard, that real hard. I
Yeah,
love that.
it's like a Ichibe, it's like a Ichibe mixed with it's another character from Naruto that did like calligraphy, Sai, I think,
Oh,
something like that.
I, I,
That's
I
the
I have
idea.
forgotten a lot of Naruto. 'Cause I haven't watched that in a long while
Right, right,
since Shippuden, like couple of seasons
right,
Shippuden.
right.
So I don't remember
I
much, right? But
I yeah, for me, no, for me, well, there's a quick sidebar. Like for me, I've never gotten into the sequel series. Like I watch a little bit of it, I kind of keep up with some of the ideas, but I could not get into the sequel series. I hate alright, but yeah, I couldn't get into it. That is the son, like
oh
the
yeah,
movie comes
I
next.
never, well,
Yeah,
Boruto I think it is. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
never watched those.
yeah,
I was into other anime at the time. Like I'm sorry, like people would just put me onto other series, so I just stopped watching
yeah, yeah.
Naruto. But anyway, right? But yeah, just the world of this well, this universe, or the world, if you will, of Neja is magnificent in my opinion, right? And yeah, the third act was brilliant. How they play on, him try subduing his fiery powers and how that comes out was great. The dynamic between him and Albin was great. And boy, I have to talk about the fight sequences in this. So the fight sequences are bad ass in my opinion, Dred. And it's straight up anime stuff. And even with the first one I was watching this, I was like, yeah, this is Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, Dred, in the sense that
Yeah,
it's always
genuinely.
characters who, right, so they have a skill set, right? But then they'll drop another skill set and then they'll drop a next one. It's like, oh, you think that
Yeah,
can stop me? Boom, I have a next thing for your ass. Oh, you think
yeah,
that can
yeah.
stop me? And it's just
Yeah,
one up and
I
one up
forget,
and one up in each
I
other.
forget
That's
what
what I
it is.
love
I,
about Thousand Year Blood War, Dred. It's just
yeah,
one
I
up
forget the
each other.
joke. I forget the joke. This making anime. Nani tennis. Nani tennis. So it's like every character Nani, and then they'll do
Yeah.
something Nani.
Not Nani?
Nani tennis.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nani.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
that.
Nani
It's
tennis.
that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, boy. And it's just skill set after skill set, boy. And it's just
right.
overpowering, right? So, yes, it is Dragon Ball Z stuff, but I was more seeing
Yeah,
Bleach with how these characters were doing the powers, especially with
yeah,
Albin and his skill set shit. I was like, that is
yeah.
Bleach shit right there, right? But with Neja, when he turns, that's all I'll say without spoiling anything, that is DBZ stuff. Like when he achieves a
Right.
certain form, I was like, that's Goku. That's
No, I
Goku
mean
stuff
that.
right
I would
there.
say China. Yeah, that's like China. I mean, straight up. I mean, think it's a Chinese story. Dragon Ball Z is originally a Chinese story, so I'm surprised that that China themselves never like sit down and make their own thing. And like we get some solid games, for example, and I'm gonna call it I forget Song Wukong larger narrative. But that kind of stuff is shocking how we never get our own thing to like borrow from other people thing to tell our own story. Because Nisha really also has it also is very Hanuman coded, right? A little bit, like a couple of which is the story,
Yes,
the
you're right.
whole mythology. Yeah, the whole mythology and history anyway. So it's just who had to get together and make their own material. But just this coming out of China and making it work for what it is really impressive stuff. Like that's why I like a lot of this. It is smart stuff. It comes together really well. It not all of it works. Like it's a little too, as I say, a little too much over egg in the pudding, to borrow that metaphor. But it's just like wow, this is such a big project. Because the movie long, the movie long, and
Yeah,
yet
yeah, yeah.
it's
Well,
still
both
like
films are long, and the second
yeah.
film, which you'll get into in a bit, that clocks in at nearly 2.5 hours, But I'll talk about
Exactly.
that runtime in a bit, right? But yeah, go on. No?
Yeah. but I think there's just this such a this one of those projects that is really bucking against like conventional wisdom of what should work or what shouldn't work. But again, it comes from China, so that is a whole paradigm shift by itself. So it's the second they get a chance to do the thing, they do the thing. Like that's what end up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, one thing that I absolutely admire, I admire the most about this show, right? Outside of the stellar animation, right? Is just the culture, just the mythology, just the storytelling that's worked into the story. Right? So I love me martial art films, right? I love a lot of martial arts
yeah,
films, right? But I can't say that I am some connoisseur of it. Like I have this encyclopedic, memory of all martial art
right,
films, right? But there was certain tropes and certain characters and certain mannerisms where I was like, oh, I see where they pull
yeah,
it from, like Chinese theater, like, just the way a
yeah,
character would move or pose or whatever. I was like, this is the stuff that
yeah,
I've been seeing in martial arts films, especially wuxia films. This show
yeah,
borrows a lot from wuxia. Like, the fight scenes
yeah,
are very wuxia inspired. I was like, yeah, this is right up my alley. This is my shit. This is my shit, right? I was like,
yeah,
yes, this is how, just for me, I think this is the reason why these shows, these movies are so popular, is because even though I mean I could make the argument that the martial arts film genre is not really so much dead, it's just inactive right now, right? But I could see
right.
these films as just the logical progression of those
Yeah,
films, and especially
the
wuxia
last
films
time we get
in particular.
yeah, the last time we tried to get something was serious. It felt too low effort, and I don't know if because audiences were shifting. Okay, it didn't work at all, even though the original was a classic. That is Crouching Tiger. Uh, the sequel,
Oh,
not bad,
I did, yeah, I like the sequel. It's a matinee
not
kind of
bad,
film,
but
but it
clearly
didn't live up to what the first one was. The
the
first
original.
one is
Exactly,
pure masterpiece. The second one is a
exactly.
Saturday matinee show compared to that.
Right, right. But I think it just for whatever reason the genre just kind of just slip away. So for it to come back in animation, the only other time we kind of get something a little something is Crouching sorry, Kung Fu Panda, right? Maybe
Yes.
right. You
Mhm.
could say to an extent that franchise. I don't know, like it just kind of weird that we just kind of forget that it was a thing, and then like they just brought it back with this. Like it's like, all right,
Yeah,
it's working.
and
Like,
I'll even
yeah,
compare it now to Bollywood, for example, right? And how
right,
they are shifting away from the romantic drama, and
right,
they're doing
right,
like actions and horrors and even sci-fi and all too, ever so often.
right,
But they are still pulling elements from those beloved Bollywood films of the past, right? They are
correct,
pulling in the love stories, they are pulling in the melodrama, they are pulling in the musical numbers, and they are in these films that have a lot of action, or like in the case of the movie Brahmastra, which I absolutely love, right? Which is a part one as well too. Yeah, they are pulling from fantasy. It's basically a fantasy slash superhero movie, right? That's what that film was,
right,
right? But they are still drawing from the elements of old school Bollywood films, right? And I could see the DNA of old school, Chinese like martial arts and wuxia films, and dramas and theater films in
right.
theater, right, in this movie here, right? And it's very subtle how they do it too. I'm like, wow, this is what you need to do. This kind of stuff that you need to do, right? And yet at the same time, make it accessible to worldwide audiences. So even if I don't know the lore of Ne Zha or Albing, whatever it is, I could still see the story and the character, and even the character growth that that Ne Zha goes through. Yes, I could understand it. So yes, other audiences could appreciate that, right? So one minor gripe that I had when I watched the first film, but thankfully they fixed that with the next film, right? Remember, I went into this blind, right? I was a tad bit let down that the first film was a to be continued. Okay, so that
Right.
ends on a to be continued kind of vibe, right? And slight spoiler, the post credit scene involves a scene from basically a spin-off movie that takes place, right? But I didn't get the chance to watch that as yet, right? But I know it's part of this universe here, but it doesn't. I don't think it entirely connects with the second film. I think it may have to do with the immortals that you see in the second film, or maybe that's the introduction of those characters. I'm assuming, but I haven't seen that as yet, right? But yeah, I was a tad bit let down that the first film was a to be continued, because the way this stuff I was like, oh, they have a next one. Oh, okay. I thought it was just like a standalone film now, But then, thankfully, the next film kind of come and say, all right, well, this is part two, and this is how everything else progresses from there, right? So, listen, I was watching this film, I was like, I feel so sorry for people who saw the second film theatrically and didn't even bother to go on Amazon Prime or Roku and watch the first film. I feel so sorry for them. I watched the Double Toasted review and I was like, oh, they should have watched the first one though. Because the first one
Yeah.
answers all the questions. There's even subtle references to the
Right.
first film. There's even character arcs and bits from character arcs that are followed up in the second film. In particular, Ne Zha and his mother. I like
Right.
how they followed that up was great, right? But you know, you might get the full context in the second film. But when you watch the first film, especially what the mother went through, again, over long pregnancy, that's all it was for eating. And just how she always felt about him, because especially knowing the secret about him with the demon orb and all that kind of stuff. It works. So when there's a moment that happens with the two of them, they're gonna spoil it. I won't lie, boy. Brought the man tears out of me. It brought it
Right.
out of me because it just paid off what was set up in the first film quite brilliantly, right? And boy, I what I would say about this the I would say the second hour of this, right? I'll talk about runtime in a bit, right? I was moved, Jared. I
Yeah.
did not expect to be as moved as I was, but I was moved by. I was just swept away by the storytelling, by the stakes that were involved, where the characters were pushed, and especially that animation, boy. This is some of the best animation I have seen ever in my life. This rivals a majority of VFX heavy Hollywood films. I'm just talking about what you're seeing on screen, boy. There were moments where my jaw was just on the floor. There were moments where my eyes was just watering. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that I will live to see something so glorious like this, Dread. And come from China, Dread.
Yeah.
This is amazing, Dread. This is some of the best, like movie viewing stuff I've seen all year, Dread. You know what I mean? It was amazing in my opinion, right? But again, I just feel so sorry for people who just went into part two, telling themselves, "Oh well, I don't need to watch the first one. Nah, I can get a recap." Nah, the recap just kind of comes and goes quickly, Dread. So
Right.
trust me, and I don't know how much of the first film you remember or when you saw the first film, but yeah, you have to, and I stress this, you have to watch the first film before you jump into this one here, because stuff that
Right.
is set up in the first film is paid off in the second one quite brilliantly, in my opinion. So while I take a break, you can tell me how wrong I am, or if you told me you pretty much understood the story, but is it because
Right.
of the anime or more bleach
Exactly.
stuff that was going on in it? Because yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
As I
bleach
say,
in this one, but there's a lot of bleach in
yeah,
this
no,
one.
like, yeah, exactly. It kind of like it has so much parallels to other anime and stories. You watch stories like this how much times or how much video games you play or whatever it is. It's not like super original in that way, but it's fine. Like once you tell your story well and it's well made, I don't really have a problem with any of it, right? So that's why this was like really excellent and worked for me. It probably gonna make a top 10 of the year, but it didn't blow me away because it's not like it had me real thinking about it. Because again, as watch a lot of anime, that's the problem. So
Hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
it's it's in that realm of all right, they cook in here. This is excellent. This is solid stuff, and I can't be mad at any of it.
Right.
No, I just am more impressed with it as in its success.
Yes. Mhm.
Just watching how much money it made and like, oh shit, like it just tap in the right location, right thing, right ways, and but much like your Avatar, right? Avatar has so many tropes of other sci-fi and other stories that you see that it's not that great, and yet that just did mega blockbuster money by itself, because of the technical aspect of it and the 3D, but it's because the story. People actually like the story. That is one of those, I don't know what to call it. I have a term for it, my dumb little term, pop culture quietism, where it'll have these
Huh.
projects that'll show up ever so often, and they don't have a pop culture footprint necessarily, as in you won't see cosplay or people talking about it all that much, but yet it make a ton of cash. And Avatar is one of those, right? You don't see how many people you see, you know, dressing up like the Navi or whatever it is, right? Or
Oh.
cosplaying or whatever it is. Yeah, it exists,
Yeah,
but
it does, and
compared to
mad props for your cosplayers if only get through with that, but yeah, you're right.
right.
You don't see like it's not like a
But yet, a lot of
popular
people,
cosplay,
yeah, and it's
option.
one of those popular it's one of those popular arguments against Avatar as a like a kind of a movie or artifact because they being people like to dismiss it as it being so stereotypical and so bland and so cliched, and yet this thing make a ton of cash and the sequel make a ton of cash and the new one coming out more like you gonna make a ton of cash too, right? Every one of them crossed 2 billion, right? That is insane, right? So what it is it doing to get all these people to come out? They're not inflating the numbers or no bullshit. James Cameron is the real deal, right? He making the cash, he doing anything. Like, you make a solid product, and it's just like it's one of those things that you just meet our general audience halfway, and like movies don't do that, and a lot of people don't do that because, like, you admit it, we film people is that again, it's kind of get we head up we ass, right, a little bit, right? We more argue with each other rather than the masses. Now you don't know how to go to the masses, and I think that is what this movie did. Like, but see it, but you get to see it from the outside. You really get to see it from the outside with a Chinese film, and that kind of interesting. And so that part of the discourse, I would love to see expand upon, like who's smart enough to do that. I'm not smart enough to do that, but I'd love to see other people like, okay, why did Nisha do so well in this way and that kind of thing, right? And not some bullet point video. I want to see some deep dives eventually. I'm just so like shocked that it's as big as it is. Like, all right, would the numbers will lie. So
Yeah, no,
that's that.
no, I'm
But
not. The
as a
numbers are.
project of film, it's the same way I feel about the Avatar films. Like, it don't blow me away or have me thinking in any major way or do anything like new or interesting because, again, I watch an anime my whole goddamn life. So, like, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just
but,
pure popcorn entertainment. That's what it is.
yeah, but
It's not a show that I will be
yeah,
like, thinking about like, wow, like the deeper meanings behind this movie. No, it's popcorn
yeah.
entertainment. That's what the Avatar
But it's
films
still,
was.
it's still,
That's what
it's
these
still
films are too.
But it's still like just such a really solid product. And I think I'm showing it. Yeah, props to them to point it out in this way. And I think they admit a big part of it is the fact that it's Chinese now. Like, oh, this Chinese project coming out, oh, look how good it's looking. It's kind of like when Wukong came out, the game now. Like, Wukong is not like some masterpiece of a game, but it looks amazing. But the actual, like, from a gameplay standpoint, I can't see myself playing it more than once, right? But it was like it looked amazing. I was like, all right, well, that is what we want to, that is itself. And it make it work. And I mean, I wish it was like as deep as like say Neo or something like that. But like again, you gotta know you're playing it for, and it have that for lack of a better term. This is just right amateur use of a popular concept where you call a blue ocean strategy. I make the joke that red oceans will become blue oceans again. Like, if you get a reference, cool. And that's how I see about this. It's like this is so interesting that it catch people in that way now. Something that you thought is kind of passé and done. No, it's still there and ready, and it just blow everybody away. And yeah, it's what the fifth or sixth biggest movie ever. Like, that's insane and that's wild.
Yeah,
That's
it
an
is. It
interesting
is.
trend.
Yeah,
And it's a non-American film. It's like, what? It's the first movie to do that. Oh, whoa!
yeah.
And it catch everybody. It's not like oh, a Chinese film reach up to 11 or 12. No, like in the top 10. Like, oh shit, that catch you. Like, I would.
And even
Interesting.
more interesting, it's animation, not live action. This is not some
Right,
it's not
right,
like some big epic like war film or whatnot, right? Because
right.
there have been
Organization.
some like Chinese historical epics that came out a few years back.
No, right.
I
So
haven't
when
seen.
China,
I know there was a particular one, not Kingdom of the Gods, something along
no,
that
no,
term, but
no, the one
I
with
never saw that.
no, that's the thing. The one with I thought they was pushing that for a live action, but again, that's they avoid the cargo culting trap now. By don't try to do what the Americans doing in this way, and that we go make the Chinese version of an American film. That could maybe work, but it won't work the same way now. That's the one with Matt Damon. Right, I remember that just coming out, and like I watched that, I had a lot of fun with it. It's very propagandistic, but it worked. Like, and I was like, and I could see this being big, and it wasn't that big. And I was like,
Or Great Wall. Yeah, I saw it in
Great Wall,
theaters
right,
too. Yeah,
right,
the
something like
concept
that,
is
right,
great. Huh? The concept is great, but I don't remember much in
right.
show outside of just how great the concept is.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly, and it's these big movies I could have feel, and they finally like actually hit the nail on the head with this one though. It's shocking. It's shocking because even because you can see, and I know like they were saying, I don't think it's an accident that again we could get into the geopolitics of it or whatever. I don't think it's an accident that the superhero films kind of died down now. Like, I sure it have some politics chicanery going on behind the scenes with respect to that maybe, but uh it's just so weird that this thing did as well as it did though. It's like, all right, that fascinating though. Yeah, whatever.
it is right. So that's a few things for you,
Yeah,
right? So just quick thoughts on the show, and there's a couple points I want to make about its success, right? So about the show,
right,
right? Despite the 2.5 hour runtime, I felt like there was like every single moment was just well told, well fleshed out or whatnot, right? Yes, you have your your moments of juvenile humor here, there, whatnot, but it wasn't overdone. Yes, I did have to read subtitles a lot, and because I watched at home, I was able to like pause and rewind because I am a guy who have to make sure to get as much details like put into my brain as possible. So I don't want to like skip
right,
things and then be like, oh well, the movie will explain later on what that means. Like, no, I want to make sure that I'm locked in, right? And it's a good thing too
right,
because there's a lot that goes on, right? There's a twist that takes place that some people
right.
might see coming a mile away, but I did not. I
Yeah, which
did not,
I
and I kind
I
of like
personally
that
don't
in
know.
terms of no. I'll put it like this, right? Because of what I assume these characters are in terms of Chinese mythology. I thought that that person was going to be all pristine and righteous and holy and whatnot, right? And then that
Right.
character do a heel turn. It's like, wait, what? You
Right.
know what I mean? And no
Yeah.
lie, going back to Bleach, no lie. I forget the characters, forgive me, but trust me, when that last core of Thousand Year Blood War comes, I remember names, I remember them names, goddammit. I remember
Right.
homeboy, the old man, the guy who runs Soul Society. I forget his name right now. The old man, the guy, the one with the long beard.
Yamamoto.
The one with the,
Yamamoto.
yeah, him. He remind
Fire.
me of
Fire.
him,
Sword.
Dread.
Fire. Yeah, the fire sword fella.
Yes, him. He
Yeah.
remind
Yeah.
me of him
Yeah.
though. Like when he do that heel turn, and I was like, all
Yeah. Well, that
right,
was
sure.
okay.
See
Well,
with
you know what
it.
you doing.
No,
Yeah.
and then especially with the device that he uses, I was like, dog, Bleach, all this Soul
Yeah.
Society,
Yeah.
all this
Right.
stuff. I
Right.
love this. I love this. I love all this. Right?
Yeah.
And
They
animation
cook as
boy,
the
yeah.
kids say. Yeah.
Yes, they cooked. They literally cooked with that, right?
Yeah.
But it's how they told the story. I love that they took the time. Just let the story breathe. Yes, you have your moments of humor, especially like when Neja is doing the trials or whatnot. But even within those
Right.
bits, you saw the Chinese or Peking theater. You saw the wuxia stuff. You see that there, right? There's
Right.
one bit involving a guy who has electrical powers that was nothing short of badass though. Yes, it's stuff that you've seen before, but how they execute that, but I was like, what? Like that's where we going. Okay. But then there's a nice little twist that takes place during there. I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going, right? There's a moment that is pitch black dark too. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
y'all
Right.
really going
Yeah.
there, right?
That's a good moment. I catch me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not in a gratuitous kind of way, thankfully, right? So it's not like kids could be crying or whatnot when they see it, but it is a dark moment, and you can understand why that pushes Neja over the edge way, and why he's like, fuck all this, make me an immortal, so I can just go and take this character's head off, or
Right.
beat the shit out of this character. Let me at it, right? I
Very, it's
love that.
very that whole thing was that's why like straight out of Naruto. Like
Yes,
Naruto.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very Naruto. Someone had to push Naruto
yeah.
to
Right.
be all pissed off and
The
all that
crash
kind of
out.
stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the crash
twist
out.
that the crash out. The twist that they do with the dragons was great as well.
Right.
And just
Yeah.
where they push the characters though, like I just absolutely love it. And like I say, that second hour into, and then especially that third act, boy, I was just moved by. I'll just say one last
Yeah.
point before I get to the couple more things, and then we'll wrap up with the readers, right? There's slight spoiler. So there are three dragons, right? And because it's pulling from anime of what and whatnot, of course they could turn into human form, right? There's one dragon, right, that have a particular design. That when I saw that, I paused it. I watched it. I was like, that is one of the best character designs I have ever seen in a movie. Period.
Yeah.
Straight up anime shit, Jim. But what I talk about, right, is it's pulling from Chinese artwork, but it's also pulling
Right.
from the fact that it's a dragon and it's fire. But how they put that together, that's all I'll say. How they put that together, I was like, the people who work on this show, like, they cooking here. Watch that character. Watch that character. Even though you don't see much of him, even though you don't see much of him, watch that character and tell me they put effort into that shit thread. And that's what I love just with the rollout of this film, right? Because this is 6 years after the first film came out, right? So I mean, these guys, these animation teams, them probably spend real time, real effort, and of course, real rendering hours, just pulling this shit
Yep.
off, and it
But
paid off, boy. My God, this
I'll
was
say
great.
that I compare it. I say it's really comparable to like Avatar now, or a Spider Verse. Like just what impressed me is just the technical aspect of it. You know, the story. I mean, some masterpiece of a thing. It's just like, all right, that's how you're supposed to do this and make it work. And that's why this was excellent. I can't be mad at any of this too. Like
Right.
just make it work in that sense, sure.
So, quick theory and what I feel we should take from this, right? And then we'll wrap up with ratings and whatnot, right? So theory, right? So next month, we're supposed to be getting this on September 11th, right? Thursday, right? At the time I was recording
Right.
this, a brand new Demon Slayer movie. Now the thing is,
Right.
I only watched
Right.
the first season of Demon
That's
Slayer.
popular. Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I was not blown away by it. I know
Yeah.
there's more seasons and I know there's movies that I need to catch up on. But I
I'm
am
not. I'm
now
not a big.
deliberating.
I'm not a big fan, but I just think it looks great. Like, but I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like
Well,
super
well,
into
the
the
cell,
lore.
the cell from the jump was the animation. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But the theory I want to throw out here is that, well, the question I should ask, right? This, I'm not expecting an answer right now, but this is just what I'm going to be thinking about leading up to its release now, right? With the success of K-pop Demon Hunters and Ninja 2, this movie is coming out theatrically, right, in the States. I feel it'll probably be limited as well, right? They're already giving this a rated R rating, which is kind of weird because, I mean, like, yes, there was some edgy stuff to Demon Slayer, but that's the first season I saw, so I don't know how much of it warrants the rating of this movie here, right? But the point is,
Right.
will this movie be will it be commercially successful at all? I'm not saying that it will be as successful as K-pop Demon Hunters or Ninja 2, but will it be successful seeing that it is admittedly a niche, not market,
That's
but
the
a
thing,
niche franchise? Because yeah,
right.
even though I don't watch a lot of anime, but I've watched enough anime to say that I am a fan, but I have not watched a lot of Demon Slayer. So I don't know if
Right.
this movie will even make anything, but they advertise it. Like I seen TV spots of it on cable. So I'm like, all right,
Right.
well, what if this movie now make a ton of money? Now, what will people be saying now about like non-American animated films going forward? If this film
Right.
make a lot of money, that gonna be a big deal now. It's like, well, now yeah, three movies, yeah, from South Korea, China, and Japan making bank now. So what I can see now for like when the next Spider-Verse movie comes up, for
Right.
example, or when the next Pixar movie comes up, for example, right? That
Right.
gonna be that's something worth tuning in for, right? But yeah, any thoughts on what I just brought up there?
No, yeah, as I say, it's a trend, and here's the thing. I've always said that my like kind of quick thing is that superhero genre, it not that we necessarily bored of it. And look, James Gunn, as I said, James Gunn kind of get a bad luck kind of thing because even though I think Superman was excellent and it did okay, the thing is, it's just the trend change. And my look, the two trends that coming up on the pipeline is video games and anime. Like that's the two is the trend. Like all them kids growing up now, all them is adults now, millennials we grew up now. That it's our effectively is we time now. So I can see the superhero genre going out. And so that's why it could do good. I don't think like this particular thing will do good, but that's the trend now. And it go have something that go rub blow everybody away. But the question is how America and how that whole thing is going, especially with politics now, real world politics could get into this kind of nonsense now. For the most part, we don't know. Like that's all we've been saying. You just gotta watch trends now. But again, money does talk and bullshit does walk. So we will find out.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
yeah,
But
yeah. So we will find out.
last point I'll make now, and then we'll get to it. Right now, for me, biggest takeaway from this show, right, is that two films that are based on Chinese mythology, and I'm talking about like 16th century, books that were put out that were based on Chinese mythology itself, right?
Right.
And I mean, this character of Nisha has been in Chinese media in storytelling mediums for centuries now, right? And now it is to the point that even some people are theorizing that maybe Ninja could be their equivalent, China's equivalent of Mickey Mouse, as just this
Right.
character that is synonymous with animation in China, whatnot, right?
Well,
Which is a big
here's the
deal, right?
thing. So here's the thing. Again, when we think of Disney, there is a character who is actually more popular than Mickey Mouse in certain parts of the world. Stitch, right?
Right. I remember. I
Stitch,
remember you mentioned that with the Lilo and Stitch review.
exactly. Stitch is actually more popular than Mickey Mouse in terms of like the iconography of it. Now, so yeah, all of them things could happen now. But that's why the real like thing is. It's just this kind of reinforcement of conceits now. Like I don't know if that like he himself would blow up, but like you need to have that workable reinforcement of thing now of reinforcement of your concept now. So I have to constantly remind everybody of it, much like with Disney. Disney, we could complain about if Disney where Disney gonna be in the next few years because have a whole lot of drama involving AI and whatever it is. Right. To be fair, I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. But you get my point, right? But I think we're really having like a shift now in terms of that power because no superhero movie do that good. Worldwide now. Like they do okay. And I think it's just more like a rebalancing of things. Like those movies are always overinflated because of China and the what do you call it? Just the share like box office and that whole paradigm and who are the pay to who and cater to who and Chinese government this that and the other. But like it's shifting back. right? And we, shifting back because of the American government, because of that. So its powers and principalities are above all of us. But I not like super surprised that this shaping up the way it is because of that. That's all I'll say. But this movie in particular is such a flashpoint already now. That's what was so impressive about this now. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But the point I want to make now is like, and forgive us, folks, but we have to speak as as citizens of the Caribbean, citizens of Trinidad, if you will, right? Yeah. What does that see now in terms of how we adapt our mythology, right, into
Right, right.
whether it's film or hopefully comics or video games
Yep.
or even novels, right? Yeah, like I'm seeing this now. I'm telling myself, well, yeah, we could actually tell our own stories now. It's just to
Yeah, right.
find that right sweet spot in making our stories accessible to worldwide
Right.
audiences, right? So it's not just because even that's the beauty of Ne Zha too, right? Because they could have just made something very specific to their own culture, right? But trust me, it would not have made as much money. I don't think it would have made as much money if it was played out like that, right? But because it has this universal appeal, I think that's why it made so much money in its home country and why it was
Right.
able to go overseas and just dominate, right? That's why I feel the key of it all, right? That's why I feel the key to all this is, right? So for me now,
Right.
I just seeing this speaking just as a creator from Trinidad now, I'm seeing this like, hey, we could actually like tell now we have no excuse. We could tell our own stories. Of course, we had to tell it in our own way. I'm not saying that we had to copy and paste what these guys did. Of course, I'm not saying that, right?
As
And
a,
especially
no, but I'll get
what's like especially not saying that we have to try to make a 2.5 hour animated film. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying now that this is enough reason for us to actually believe in our own mythology, in our own stories that we've been
yeah.
grown up on, and tell them in very like unique and fascinating ways, and
No,
and also accessible ways, of course. And that's all I'll say.
right, right, right. No, I say the thing on Asia is that it not trying to necessarily like copy. Here's the thing: it have a kind of weird like there's a for lack of a better word, there's a kind of alchemy to a lot of this, right? In the sense that what you're trying to do as a conceit, you think you could just replicate another person and it really work out. And it's that cargo culting problem now. Caribbean film are like right for that in my opinion. Like everybody just want to just do a Scorsese movie or whatever it is, right?
Uh huh.
Um and
Uh
it's like,
huh.
no, no, there. Right. But the point is that you could have the elements, but as I always say, it's soil more than seed, right? The seed is there, you could use it, but you have to know how it is grow, and then you modify according, like to borrow from to use a plant metaphor, right? And that's how I think this works. That's why this comes together, but you don't know. You don't know until it flourishes. No, you really don't know. You have to really do a lot of trial and error. And that's why with China, why China like had the Marvel films in the space for so long is because they just wanted us to sit down and watching it and seeing what it is could replicate it and make it work now. What it is can make it replicate and make it work. And they did that. That's what we got. And ultimately, this just come together in a way that it'll blow up. And a lot of it is like pure happenstance and accident. Like, let's be clear about that. Like, you have no true control over some of these things, right? But I think they finally like nail it with this. Like this is just oh shit, it worked and it come together in this sense. And again, it props to two for jumping on this in the way they did, right? Because that does have a crack it up. It's like, all right,
I
the men
know,
really
right?
want to pay for the next 3 4 films. But and that's where you gotta go. Like you make the cheap stuff and then you make that work for what it is now. That's why I kind of see a lot of this. Like I can't be like complaining about it because 804 because they have like the weird space. That's the strength of their films. That's why those work. Um, because it just trying something new and weird and not trying to play it safe. And I was killing a lot of Hollywood, right? It just has to weird execs. It's killing music too. Like let us be clear across the board. It killing thing. It's not that they don't have a good ear. They have a lot of people who in a lot of powerful position have a good ear, but if following the numbers too much now, right? It's like no, you have to do gaming is another big problem. It's just a general have too many, what I call them, basically bean counter types. Now the bean counters running everything now, and
Mm.
that's the problem. Too much bean counters, and that's why this work is that no, they do it after the fact and saying it, but they can't just make it just so. It's like no, you just have to work up, make your film before the fact. However, we'll see.
Right, right. Yeah, so as far as rating goes, because I'm going to rate both films, right? So, Ne Zha 1 gets a strong 4 out of 5. Ne Zha 2 gets a light to decent 4.5 out of 5. As far as Ne Zha 2, yes, this is hands down one of the best films I've seen all year. I'm gonna see this one time. I don't think there will be any animated film that will come out this year that could even top what this movie did here. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
think.
because I can't remember
Yeah,
I can't remember
what
when
animated movie
Wild
come?
Robot. All right, so I can't remember if Wild Robot came out in September or October. I'm not too sure, but I mean I've seen this because in terms of like Oscar nomination, right? And well, I saw Flow after the fact, right? The
Right.
point is, I have no clue what other like big animated features coming out. Maybe there might be a couple for Christmas time or Thanksgiving or whatever. But the point is, I don't think there'll be anything else. And even
Yeah, I
preceding
don't know.
that, what is there like what Elio? That no,
Yeah, no,
come on.
Elio came and went.
Yeah, it came out with
I
that. I
don't.
mean, I
I don't
haven't
kind of
seen
follow.
it
I
yet.
proper thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
Yeah, I
yet.
think it
I do
flopped.
hope.
Flopped hard.
Yeah, I heard it flopped. What Bad Guys too? Like dog, like this is it.
Embarrassed was right. I didn't
Like
watch it yet, but I heard it was okay. But I
okay.
don't know if it flopped yet. I don't know.
But the point I say is like that's it. Like Ninja 2, just crush it. That's
Yeah,
it.
don't
That's it.
dominate. Yeah,
That's the end.
yeah,
This is like this is the Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse of
yeah.
2025. Like
Yeah,
nothing
that's
is
how I
going to
thinking
top
about it.
this.
Yeah,
Nothing is going to
yeah.
top this unless somehow, some way, some anime movie that is not Demon Slayer, by the way, comes out and end up winning the Oscar for Best Animated Feature next year. It's like,
Right.
okay, cool. Like the last time was with Miyazaki, but it's Miyazaki, so it's like, all right. But nah, I don't think any animated movie that will come out for the rest of the year is going to top this at all. This is easily one of the best films I've seen all year, top 10 for sure. But again, I have to I have to state this. This is a duology, folks. You have to watch one and then follow up with two. Do like everybody following hypes and watch the second one because you just want to be like, oh, I saw Deja too. And then you come out of it like, I don't understand what the fuck happened in that show, but I loved it. You know what I mean? If you were unfortunate enough to see two without seeing one, well, and you managed to understand enough of the backstory, well, you know, much power to you,
Yeah.
Trey. But nah, I really feel like you gotta watch the first one to really get especially the emotional stakes involved of the second one. I really feel like you have to watch the
Right.
first one, right? But that's just me. But yeah, Ninja 2, brilliant, one of the best films of the year. And of course, what Ninja 1 was great. I really feel like if I had seen that in 2019, this would have been in my top 10 as well for 2019 films, right? But yeah, Ninja 2 is a real deal. Ninja in general is a real deal. I'll close with this. Yes, there is the hint of a follow-up as a Ninja 3. I don't know how long we'll have to wait for that, seeing that we had to wait, 6 years or so? Yeah, 6 years to get this one here. I don't know how long we had to wait to get this next one, but boy, I don't know what we'll get with this one, but this literally will be like this new like the equivalent of the new Avatar movie that we get in this year, right? Something that
Right.
we
So I say that
don't know when it's coming out. We don't know when
it
it's coming out,
it gonna be
but
no,
when it
it gonna
does,
be that
it
comparable.
will be like amazing. That's all I'll say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, because we just had this one trailer that came out. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
And it look. I think it look okay. Again, it look good.
It
Like,
looked
but I
good,
don't
but
know how
I
it's gonna
just
be.
don't know what the
Whatever.
story is, and I'm
Whatever.
not
Normal thing.
too invested in the world of Avatar to be like, oh my god, I need to see
Exactly.
this off of this one trailer. But I'm going to see it for
Exactly.
Christmas, and more
Exactly.
likely will put it in my best of list, right? Because
Exactly.
Avatar, right? I'll more likely go and see it in
Exactly.
IMAX because it's goddamn Avatar, right? So it is what it is,
Yeah.
and I feel it could be the same exact way with Ninja 3
Right.
when it comes, all right. But yeah, boy,
Right.
and again, boy, 824, boy, 824. Y'all really cooking this year, boy. That was a ballsy move, but y'all did all the damn thing, Jen. Mad props to all you, right? But yeah, Ricardo,
Yeah.
last thoughts on Nisha 2. If you want to mention the first one as well, how you feel this movie will be received going forward, and of course, written.
Yeah, no, that's a fascinating little thing that come out, and is really interesting that it worked out the way it is. I super hyped for where this could go, what other potential type projects could work out from this. But yeah, this was excellent. 8 out of 10 for me. Just works as a weird like whole project, and they just they just cut together in such a fascinating and interesting way. And yeah, the whole ordeal and again the meta narrative around going to be really fascinating when we go see coming forward. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 8 out of 10, good stuff. But Ninja 2, 'cause I didn't really see Ninja 1.
All right, well, Ricardo, I'll disclose this, right? So your homework assignment is to watch the first one, and you'll understand what I mean in terms of watching the first one before this one,
Right.
right? And watch K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. It's fine. It wouldn't harm you. But yeah, watch that. But yes, folks, Ne Zha 2 is a real deal. I will definitely seek out the English dub if it comes out, right? And last point I'll make, and then we'll wrap up here, right? I think, I don't hope, but I think that given the hype that this movie has been receiving so far, that local cinemas at least show part two. But but the problem with that now is that we could be too lazy and we could just show the second one and not the first one. I would love it if we could show both films. I would love it if we could live in a world, in a country, sorry, where we could run both films back to back. So you watch one and then you I don't know, maybe you pay one ticket to watch two or
I can see
something.
one of them.
But I feel like if we are even fortunate to get this film here, because sorry, fifth highest grossing movie of all time, and we not seeing it down here. Nah, no. But
Well,
I have a feeling that we will just run two, and people will just be like, okay,
yeah,
what?
I can see one of them anime festival people like showing it. Yeah.
Well, there's an anime con coming up. It's just if they can
Right.
show it, that's the thing. But I
Yeah,
guess,
they're gonna show that. Yeah, they're gonna show that as if anybody gonna fight on and fight on piracy. It's some anime con where.
yeah, but I mean, if Demon Hunter, if the new Demon Slayer movie, sorry, showing, then why not this movie here? I don't know. Also, I would even be surprised if K-pop Demon Hunters. Nah, actually, matter of fact, double back on that, right? Because it's on Netflix, so there really wouldn't be any need to show that theatrically. But I really feel like Ne Zha 2 should be shown at least somewhere in the Caribbean, right? But again, though, I'll keep my eyes out, ears to the ground, and just see how the reception of this film will continue to grow over the next 4 months, right? But yeah, this is kind of fascinating here, right? But yeah, one of the best films of the year. Definitely check this out.